Welcome in today's lecture. Today we are going to focus on the topic. That topic is reproduction in animals. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the MCQs which related to the female reproductive system. Last lecture मध्ये आपण female reproductive study केली होती. Female reproductive system, these are present in the abdomen and these having the different part which having the main part, that is the primary sex organ, and this is the ovary. Ovary is having the 2 in number. This is called as the primary sex organ, or this is called as the gonad. Gonad or primary sex organ, these are very important. In this case, the female gamete, these are formed. These having the different cells. These having the outer cells. These are the cuboidal cell. These show the middle part. This is the medulla or outer side which having the follicles. In female reproductive system, follicles, these are formed before the birth of female baby. Actually, this ovary, these are connected to the uterus with the help of ligaments. And other part, these are the fallopian tube. Fallopian tube, this is also called as the fallopian duct. This is also called as the oviduct. And female reproductive system having the 2 in number. This 2 in number, this show the 2 end. This end is called as the proximal end and this end is called as the distal end. This oviduct which having the 2 end, one is the proximal end. The end of the oviduct which attached to the ovary is called as the proximal end, and other end, this is the distal end. Distal end, the end, these are attached to the uterus of the oviduct is called as the distal end, and distal end part of the oviduct is called as the isthmus, and the part of the oviduct, these are present or attached to the ovary, that is called as the infundibulum. These are the two main parts, and which having the middle soren part or middle part, this is called as the ampulla. And in this isthmus, we can see the finger like projection, this is called as the femori, and this having the small opening, this is called as the ostium. And middle part, this is the ampulla. This is very important in this case. The fertilization means fusion of male and female gamete, that is the syngamy. These are happens in the middle part, that is the ampulla region. And the third region, that is the distal end of the oviduct, this is called as the isthmus. Isthmus, these are open into the uterus, and this uterus also divided into 3 regions. The uppermost part of this uterus, this is called as the fundus. Uterus is also called as the womb. This having the middle part, this is called as the body, and lower part, this is called as the cervix, or these are also called as the cervical canal. And these isthmus, these are open into the fundus region of the uterus. And middle part, this is the body. This is also called as the perfect uterus, and lower side, this is called as the cervix. This cervix having the narrow part of this ovary, and because of that, these uterus having the some narrow part of the cervical region, and because of this show the pear shape, and this having the length near about 7.5 centimeter. These show the wider, these are wider 5 centimeter wider, and these show the thickness, these are 2.5 centimeter. These are the normal size of female uterus. These are female uterus, these are having the cervix or the cervical canal, that having the end part, this is the cervix. This cervix open into the reproductive part, and this is the vagina. In case of female reproductive system, vagina, this is the reproductive or copulatory organ. This having the length 7 to 9 centimeter, and these are the copulatory part. This having the smaller layer, and these are small layer or small closing portion, this with the help of membranous layer, and that is called as the hymen. हायमेन हा असा पार्ट आहे की ज्यानुसार पार्शियली यामध्ये व्हेजाइना क्लोज असतो. व्हेजाइना इन विच नो एनी ग्लँड्स दिस आर प्रेझेंट, नो एनी सिक्रेशन हॅपन्स इन द व्हेजाइना. Actually, vagina show the presence of bacteria, and that bacteria, these are the lactobacilli. Lactobacilli responsible for secretion of the lactic acid inside the vagina. These are the female reproductive system. These show the different layer of the cell. Actually, you can observe in this ovary, that ovary having the cell, that cell is the cuboidal epithelial cell. This show the germ cell, and this show the stroma region. And these show This show the fallopian tube, or this is called as the oviduct. This show the two type of cell, ciliated cells and non-ciliated cell. Non-ciliated cell is also called as the peg cell. These are the secretory cell. They secrete the mucus like substance, and in this case the fundus or the body and the cervix, this all over the uterus. This show the three layer. Outer layer, this is the perimetrium. Perimetrium, these are organized from the perineal layer. And middle part, this is the muscular, this is the myometrium. These are responsible for the contraction and relaxation at the time of birth and parturition of a baby. And the middle, this is the endometrium. These are also made up of from the epithelial cell, cuboidal epithelial cell. And this layer, these are not permanent. These are continuously change, or these are continuously form a new in each month. In case of female reproductive system, at the time of pregnancy, this become thick and thick, and because of that the pregnancy, these are fixed inside the uterus. Actually fertilization, these are happens inside the oviduct, or this is also called as the fallopian tube. But this pregnancy or this embryo, these are transferred toward the fundus region. And in this fundus region, this is the part of the uterus. In this case, the implantation of the pregnancy or embryo, these are ऑकर्स. हा असा रिजन आहे की त्यामध्ये काय होतं, यामध्ये जे इम्प्लांटेशन आहे तर ते होत असतं. आफ्टर द ग्रोथ अँड डेव्हलपमेंट ऑफ the fetus, the birth canal, that is the cervical canal, or this is called as the cervix, these are dilated, and the birth of the child, that means the parturition, these are happens in the female. At that time the vagina, these also having the middle layer, these also having the muscles, and these are also relaxed. But in this case, or in this vagina, these vagina not show any secretion. Actually ovary, these are having the particular follicles, and after the rupturing of follicles, which form the corpus luteum, these are act as a temporary gland in case of female reproductive system. In case of female reproductive system, endometrium, these are also the inner layer, and these are also act as a particular gland. And in this lecture we focus on the MCQs which depend or which are based on these all over the topic. So let's start. Now we focus on the MCQs which based on the topic female reproductive system. फिमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव्ह सिस्टीम यामध्ये आपण जे वेगवेगळे ऑर्गन्स पाहिले त्यावरती बेस MCQs आपण पाहणार. द फर्स्ट MCQ इज दॅट द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज हिअर, layer of cells immediately surrounded the ovum but outside the zona pellucida is called as germinal epithelial, corona radiata, theca interna and membrana granulosa. When the follicles mature inside the ovary or in the cortex region of ovary, which form the different layer, and inside that having the oogonia that show the different structure, primary oocytes and secondary oocytes. In these follicles, that means the cell cover, these are present on the surface of oogonia, primary oocyte or primitive stage of the or before the formation of the secondary oocyte. And these show the layer of cells layer, these are immediately surround the ovum outside the zona pellucida. झोना पेलुसिडाच्या जस्ट वरती असणारा जो लेयर आहे, ॲक्च्युली झोना पेलुसिडा, these are non-cellular, around that having the cell layer, and that cell layer is called as the corona radiata. The different layer of cells, these are present on the follicles. Outer, this is the theca externa, next this is the theca interna, next this is the granulosa cells, and next here these are the corona radiata which develop from the granulosa cell, and inside that having the zona pellucida. This is the non-cellular layer, and here the right answer is the corona radiata. This is the cell layer, these are formed from the granulosa, these are completely, and outside the zona pellucida, these are the cellular layer, corona radiata cellular layer. Here the next question is that corpus luteum is a source of secretion of, first of all the option is that LH, second is the estradiol, third is the estrogen, and fourth option here the progesterone. LH, this is also called as the luteinizing hormones. Second, this is the estradiol. Third is the estrogen, and last option here the progesterone. Actually, corpus luteum means what? Corpus luteum, this is the empty box of mature follicle which are present inside the ovary or in the cortex region of ovary. Ovary, this show the development of the follicles, and inside that the mature follicle, these are developed from the secondary follicle, and this mature follicle after the rupturing which are release the secondary oocyte, and after the release secondary oocyte which produce the empty box corpus luteum. Corpus luteum, these are act as a endocrine gland. You can see here this corpus luteum, this is the empty box of the mature follicle after release the secondary oocyte, and this corpus luteum act as a endocrine gland, and these secrete the progesterone. Progesterone is also called as the pregnancy hormones. These are released from this corpus luteum inside the ovary, and these secretion, these are useful to maintain the pregnancy. प्रेग्नन्सी मेंटेन करण्यासाठी, एंडोमेट्रियमची थिकनेस इन्क्रीज करण्यासाठी यामध्ये जे प्रोजेस्टेरॉन आहे ते यामध्ये सिक्रेट होतं. कॉर्पस ल्युटियम हे सिक्रेट करतं, अँड कॉर्पस ल्युटियम दिस आर प्रेझेंट इनसाइड द ओव्हरी, अँड दिस हॅव्हिंग द मेन सिक्रेशन फंक्शन, अँड दिस इज द प्रोजेस्टेरॉन. And because of here the right answer is the progesterone. Progesterone, pregnancy hormone, these are secreted from the corpus luteum. These are act as a gland. Here the next question is that the membrane investing the ovum just outside the membrana granulosa is. Actually the different layer, these are present on the follicles, and in which the outermost layer is the theca externa, second is the theca interna, next is the granulosa, next is the corona radiata, next layer this is the zona pellucida, and this corona radiata, these are attached to the granulosa layer. This is called as the discus proligerus, and this show the vitelline membrane. This is the membrane of the oocyte. This is called as the vitelline membrane. Actually vitelline membrane secrete the layer zona pellucida. Zona pellucida, this is the non-cellular layer, but here question is that the membrane investing the ovum just outside यामध्ये कोणता लेयर आहे just outside of the investing membrane granulosa layer, and this just outside this is the theca interna. You can see here the outside, this is outermost layer theca externa, second is the theca interna, next is the granulosa layer, next is the corona radiata, and there the zona pellucida, and innermost layer of the oocyte, and this is the vitelline membrane. But question is that the membrane investing the ovum just outside, म्हणजे इथे ज्यामधून जिथे जस्ट आउटसाइड आहे, ओव्हमच्या जस्ट आउटसाइड असणारा लेअर, यामध्ये जे ओव्हम आहे, आता ओव्हम इथं कन्सिडर केलं जातं व्हिटॅलिन मेम्ब्रेनी, झोना पेलुसिडा विथ करोना रेडिएटा सहित जो लेयर आहे याला इथे ओव्हम म्हणलं जातं, आणि त्याच्या आउटसाइड असतं इथे ग्रॅन्युलोसा लेयर, आणि जस्ट ग्रॅन्युलोसाच्या आउटसाइड असतो यामध्ये लेयर, अँड दीज आर द theca interna. Here the next question is that after the ovulation pregnancy does not takes place, then the corpus luteum. If after the ovulation pregnancy does not takes place, then the corpus luteum, first option is here, produces lot of relaxin and oxytocin. Second option here, the degenerate in a short time. Here the third option here is maintain the presence of progesterone, and here the last option is become the secret a lot of LH and FSH, that is the luteinizing hormones and the follicular stimulating hormones. The question is that after ovulation means what, म्हणजेच यामध्ये ज्यावेळेस जो मॅच्युअर फॉलिकल आहे ज्यावेळेस ब्रेक होतो आणि त्यातून ज्यावेळेस इथे सेकंडरी फॉलिकल रिलीज होतो, दॅट इज कॉल्ड एज द ओव्युलेशन. ओव्हुलेशन झाल्यानंतर म्हणजे सेकंडरी फॉलिकल्स रिलीज झाल्यानंतर कुठे रिलीज होतो? ओव्हरीच्या आतमध्ये. इनसाइड द ovary mature follicle which break and which release the secondary oocyte, and this process is called as the ovulation. And after the ovulation, the secondary oocyte, these are goes into the infundibulum and then in ampulla. And in this ampulla, if a male gamete, these are fused with the female gamete, these are produce the zygote cell, and this is the which produce the pregnancy in this female. But question is that if after the ovulation pregnancy does not takes place, मग जर सेकंडरी ओसाइडचं फर्टिलायझेशन झालं नाही किंवा यामध्ये तो जर फर्टिलाइज झाला नाही म्हणजे यामध्ये प्रेग्नन्सी फॉर्म झाली नाही, देन द कॉर्पस ल्युटियम these are degenerate in a short time in the ovary and this converted into corpus albicum, and this stop to secretion of the progesterone. Here the next question is that after the ovulation, Graafian follicle becomes an endocrine organ and called endocrine organ. यामध्ये जो फॉर्म होतो कुणाचा? ग्राफियन फॉलिकल्सचा. तर यामध्ये इथे आफ्टर ओव्हुलेशन म्हणजे यामध्ये मॅच्युअर फॉलिकल ब्रेक होऊन त्यामधून सेकंडरी oocyte ज्यावेळेस रिलीज होतो त्यानंतर जे ग्राफियन फॉलिकल आहे, ग्राफियन फॉलिकलला मॅच्युअर फॉलिकल इथे म्हणतात, बिकम अन एंडोक्राइन ग्लॅन्ड. ती यामध्ये एंडोक्राइन ग्लॅन्ड. मग इथे 4 ऑप्शन आहे. फर्स्ट दिस इज द फिब्रिन, सेकंड इज द ओव्हरियन ट्यूब, त्यानंतर थर्ड आहे यामध्ये ग्लोब्युलिन, आणि त्यानंतर लास्ट ऑप्शन इथे आहे कॉर्पस ल्युटियम. मग ओव्हरीच्या आतमध्ये ज्यावेळेस मॅच्युअर फॉलिकल ग्राफियन फॉलिकल ब्रेक होतो त्यातून ज्यावेळेस सेकंडरी oocyte रिलीज होतो त्यानंतर त्यामध्ये जो एम्प्टी बॉक्स राहतो ग्राफियन फॉलिकलचा मॅच्युअर फॉलिकलचा, दिस इज कॉल्ड एज द कॉर्पस ल्युटियम. त्याला यामध्ये म्हणतात कॉर्पस ल्युटियम. अँड आफ्टर द ओव्हुलेशन the Graafian follicles become an endocrine gland, and that endocrine gland, this is the temporary gland, and this temporary gland, this having the short life if the fertilization these are not happens, and this gland, this show the yellowish color you can see here, and this yellowish color gland, this is the corpus luteum. This is the corpus luteum, these are act as a endocrine gland, these are produce ovulation inside the ovary, and these are produced from the Graafian follicles or the mature follicles. And this corpus luteum, this show the yellowish color which secrete the progesterone, that is also called as the pregnancy hormones. And this very important to maintain the pregnancy if a fertilization these are happen. If a fertilization these are not occurs in the fallopian tube, then these are degenerate. But these are corpus luteum, these are the temporary endocrine organ, these are formed inside the ovary. And here the right answer is endocrine gland. The next question is that the stroma of the ovary consists of the blood vessel, nerves, muscle fiber, and types of protein called. Here the stroma is the innermost part of the ovary, and this show the different collection, that is which having the blood vessels, that is the arteries and the veins, and these also show the nerves, these also show the muscle fiber, and these also show the protein. Which of the following protein these are present in these stroma? The first option here fibrin, second option here the collagen, third option this is the albumin, and last option this is the globulin. And inside that the muscle fiber these are present, and this muscle fiber this show the presence of the protein, and this protein inside the stroma cell, that is the muscle cell which are present in the stroma, and that cell this show the presence of the collagen fiber. Collagen fiber, this is the main constituent, these are present inside the ovary in the stroma region, and because of here the right answer is the collagen. These are the fiber like protein, these are present in the stroma, and this stroma, this is the part of the ovary, and this having the protein, that protein is the collagen protein. इथे collagen protein ह्या स्ट्रोमा मध्ये असतात, म्हणून यामध्ये जर 4 ऑप्शन पाहिले फिब्रिन, collagen, albumin, globulin, these are the protein, but here the right answer is the collagen fiber. That is the protein, these are present inside the stroma of the ovary, and these protein, these are present, this show the nature inside the stroma. And because of here, the right answer is the collagen, that is the option B. Option B is the right answer here. These are the collagen fiber, these are present inside the stroma, which present in the ovary. Here the next question is that outermost layer of the ovary is made up of, outermost जो layer आहे कुणाचा, ओव्हरीचा, these are made up of, first option here the simple cuboidal cell, second here the stereocilia, third here the stroma, and last option here the cilia. Actually stroma and simple cuboidal cell, these are the part of the ovary. Stroma, these are the space, or these are the central part of the ovary, and simple cuboidal cell, these are the outer layer of the ovary. These are made up of from the simple type of the epithelial cell, and these also having the germ cell, germinal epithelial cell, these also show the stroma. But here the outermost layer, पण यामध्ये जर आपण outermost layer घेतला तर outermost layer यामध्ये आहे simple cuboidal cell, त्यानंतर यामध्ये आहे germ cell, but germ cell, these are also the simple epithelial cell, and here the inner side having the stroma, this stroma having the different cells, this show presence of nerve cells, this show the presence of blood vessels, this also show the presence of the spindle shaped cells, and also the muscles. And here you can see this diagram, and here this show the outermost layer. You can observe in this diagram, this show the outermost layer, this outermost layer of the ovary, this ovary, this show the outermost layer, this outermost layer, these are the simple cuboidal cell. Simple cuboidal cell, this is the type of the epithelial cell, these are present outer side of the or single layer of the ovary. These are present in outside. These also show the different stages, growth and development of the follicles. But here the right answer is the simple cuboidal cell, these are present on the outer side, and because of here the right answer is option A, that is the simple cuboidal cell. Simple cuboidal cell यामध्ये right answer आहे. Here the next question is, which of the following statement is not true, that is the incorrect. The first option here, the vestibular glands are also known as Bartholin glands. Bartholin glands or vestibular glands, actually these are the female reproductive glands, these are present in female reproductive system, these are present in the female body, and vestibular gland, this having the another name, this is the Bartholin gland. Here the next option here, the perineum is the triangular area which extends from the labia majora to anal canal. And third option here, the myometrium is the thickest layer of the wall of the uterus. And here the last option here, the uterine tubes are covered with the broader ligament. And in this case, we have to find out the not true, that is the incorrect statement. Vestibular gland, which having also known as, or this is also called as the Bartholin gland, these are present in female reproductive system. Perineum is the triangular area which extend from the labia majora to anal. लॅबिया मेजरापासून यामध्ये ॲनलपर्यंत जो ट्रायंगुलर एरिया आहे, दिस इज कॉल्ड ॲज द पेरिनियम. मायोमेट्रियम इज अ थिकेस्ट लेयर ऑफ द वॉल ऑफ द युटेरस, दिस इज ऑल्सो राईट. बट हियर द युटेरियन ट्यूब आर कवर विथ द ब्रॉड लिगामेंट, दिस इज द फॉल्स ऑप्शन, because in this case the uterus, these are covered with the broad ligaments, and uterus, these are attached to the body or also with the ovary with the help of ligaments. But in this case uterine tube, that is the fallopian tube, that is the oviduct, these are not covered with the broad ligament, and because of here the wrong statement, all these first, second and third, that is the A, B, C, these are the right statement regarding to the female reproductive system. But here the last statement, that is the uterine tube are covered with the broad ligaments, that is the uterine tube, that is also fallopian tube, these are covered with the broad ligament, this is the false option, and these are not correct, this is the incorrect option here. And all these three, that is the A, B and C, these are the correct regarding to the female reproductive system. And because of here the right answer is the D, the uterine tube are covered with the broad ligament. यामध्ये जे युटेरिन ट्यूब आहे तर त्याला कव्हर नाही आहे लिगामेंटचं. लिगामेंट्स these are present on the uterus and also these are present with attachment of the ovary to uterus, and because of this is the false option, that is not true. These are freely suspended uterine tube, fallopian tube, or this is also called as the oviduct. And in this option the Bartholin gland is also called as the vestibular gland. These are the name of same gland. And here perineum is the triangular area which extend from the labia majora to anal, that is the anal canal. And myometrium, this is the thickest layer of the wall of the uterus. This is also right, but here this is a fourth option. These are not right. This is the incorrect statement regarding to the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system शी related हे wrong statement यामध्ये दिलेला आहे, इनकरेक्ट स्टेटमेंट यामध्ये आहे. आणि म्हणून यामध्ये इथे आपल्याला विचारलेलं आहे नॉट ट्रू, म्हणजेच यामध्ये इनकरेक्ट स्टेटमेंट म्हणजेच यामध्ये चुकीचं जे सेंटेन्स आहे तर ते यामध्ये आहे ऑप्शन डी, दॅट इज द युटेरिन ट्यूब, फेलोपियन ट्यूब, ओविडक्ट. दीज आर कव्हर विथ द ब्रॉड लिगामेंट. Here the next question is that the opening of the infundibulum into the body cavity is called as. बॉडी कॅव्हिटीमध्ये जी होणारी ओपनिंग आहे कुणाची, तर यामध्ये इनफंडिब्युलम into body cavity is called as. The first here the isthmus, second is the ampulla, third is the ostium, and last this is the thalamus. यामध्ये जर पाहिलं तर isthmus, this is the third part of the oviduct. These are open into the uterus. Actually fallopian tube चे 3 पार्ट पडतात यामध्ये infundibulum, ampulla आणि isthmus. Infundibulum, this is the proximal end present toward the ovary. Ampulla, this is the middle end, and isthmus, these are the third end. These are the distal end present near to the uterus, or this open into the fundus region of the uterus. Ampulla is the middle region where the fertilization is happened, but ostium, this is the opening which are present in the infundibulum. Thalamus, this is the part of flower, but here the ostium is the right answer. The next question here, the ovaries are suspended by. Ovaries, these are suspended in the abdominal region or lower abdominal region with the help of. First option here, the fallopian tube. Fallopian tube is also called as the oviduct, or this is also called as the uterine tube. These are present, or these are attached to the uterus to ovary, and which carry the secondary oocyte female gamete, and which also are useful for the fertilization process. And these are attached to the ovary and uterus, but these are not responsible for the suspended nature of that ovaries. The ovarian wall, these are the cuboidal epithelial cell. These are not responsible, these are not directly attached to any part. Actually here the ligaments, these are attached to that body of the uterus, and here also the body other wall. But here the mesovarian ligament, you can see here, this is a mesovarian ligament. These are responsible for suspend the ovaries inside the lower abdominal region. लोअर ॲबडॉमिनल रिजनमध्ये ज्या ओव्हरीज आहेत त्या सस्पेंडेड आहे बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रेझेन्स ऑफ मेसोवेरियन. दिज आर ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द लिगामेंट्स. these broad ligaments, these are present in female reproductive system, and because of that the ovaries, these are suspended in the lower abdominal region. लोअर ॲबडॉमिनल रिजनमध्ये ज्या ओव्हरीज आहेत त्या सस्पेंडेड यामुळे आहे कारण तिथे यामध्ये जे मेसोवेरियन आहे, these are also ligaments, these are present in this area, and these are responsible for the suspended nature of this ovary. And here the right answer is the option D, that is the mesovarian. These are the right option regarding to the suspended nature of ovary. Here the next question is, the endometrium in female is lining of. Endometrium, these are the lining of first of all option. Bladder is the part of excretory system. चा तो इथे part आहे. Gall bladder, these are not lined by the endometrium. Here the second option is the uterus. Uterus is also called as the womb. Third option here the ovary, and last option here the vagina. Uterus, ovary and vagina, this is the part of female reproductive system. In this case the vagina, this is the opening of the uterus outside, and these are also copulatory organ. Ovary, these are also called as the primary sex organ. These in this ovaries the female gamete these are formed. But endometrium, this is the inner thin layer, these are present inside the uterus or ovum. युटेरसच्या आतमध्ये जो लेयर आहे इनर साईडला, दिस इज कॉल्ड ॲज द एंडोमेट्रियम. युटेरसला 3 लेयर असतात. आउटर दिस इज द पेरीमेट्रियम, मिडल दिस इज कॉल्ड ॲज द मायोमेट्रियम अँड इनर साइड दिस इज कॉल्ड ॲज द एंडोमेट्रियम. एंडोमेट्रियम, these are the temporary layer, these are newly formed case of female reproductive system, and this endometrium continuously form a new and in the at the time of pregnancy, these are very important for attachment of the embryo inside the uterus. And this endometrium, this is the innermost lining of the uterus or ovum. गर्भाशय जे आहे किंवा युटेरस आहे याच्या इनर साईडला यामध्ये एंडोमेट्रियम हा महत्त्वाचा इथे लेयर आहे. these are also made up from the epithelial cell, and these are very important for the attachment of the embryo at the time of growth and development. That is, these are useful for the implantation process, and these are also useful for the formation of the placenta at the time of birth, at the time of growth of the embryo. And here the right answer is the uterus. Uterus show the inner lining, and this inner lining this is called as the endometrium. यामध्ये जो इनर साइड आहे त्याला म्हणते एंडोमेट्रियम. वेअर डज द फर्टिलायझेशन युजली टेक्स प्लेस? ॲक्च्युली यामध्ये here the first option is cervix, second is the vagina, third is the uterus, and last option here the oviduct. यामध्ये इथे 4 ऑप्शन आहे. ऑल these are the part of the female reproductive system. सगळेच्या सगळे यामध्ये female reproductive system चे पार्ट आहे. बट क्वेश्चन इज दॅट where does the fertilization usually takes place? Fertilization also called as the syngamy, that is the fusion of male and female gametes, that is the fusion of the secondary oocyte and the sperm. These are happens in, or these are fusion, these are occurs in the area, that area is cervix, vagina, uterus and oviduct. फिमेल मध्ये युटेरस यामध्ये हा जो पार्ट आहे त्याचाच यामध्ये एक पोर्शन आहे तो यामध्ये सर्विक्स. सर्विक्स इज द लोअर मोस्ट पार्ट ऑफ द युटेरस वियर द फर्टिलायझेशन these are not occurs. Uterus, these are useful for the growth and development of the embryo, and these are also useful for the attachment of the embryo. Vagina is the copulatory organ in case of female reproductive system. Here the uterus these are open, but here the oviduct, this is the part in which the fertilization these are happens. Oviduct you can see also called as the fallopian tube, this is also called as the uterine tube, and this having the three region, the outer layer, outer region, that is which are toward the proximal end or near to the ovaries, this is called as the infundibulum. Infundibulum which receive the secondary follicles and which goes into the middle region, that is called as the middle solent region, this is called as the ampulla. Ampulla यामध्ये मधला region आहे uterine ट्यूबचा, fallopian ट्यूबचा किंवा यामध्ये त्यालाच म्हणायचे ओव्हिडक्टचा. and this is the part in which the fertilization these are happens, and here the right answer is the oviduct. actually oviduct मधला जो middle region आहे ampulla fertilization होतं, but यामध्ये हा part आहे कुणाचा ओव्हिडक्टचा. So here the next question is that which of the following is incorrect match regarding to the female reproductive organ? The first pair is the ovaries, eggs and sex hormones are produced. यामध्ये आपल्याला फाइंड आउट करायचं आहे इनकरेक्ट मॅचिंग और also the false pairing. Second pair is the oviduct serves as a side of the fertilization. त्यानंतर सी ऑप्शन आहे uterus serves as a birth canal, आणि त्यानंतर यामध्ये लास्ट आहे cervix contain the opening of the embryo and also we can say that is the fetus. क्वेश्चन आहे की यामध्ये which one of the following is incorrect match regarding female reproductive system? ओव्हरीज हा पार्ट आहे की ज्यामध्ये एग्स अँड सेक्स हार्मोन्स यामध्ये फॉर्म होतात. सेक्स हार्मोन्स फिमेलमध्ये सेक्स हार्मोन्स आहे इस्ट्रोजन, त्यानंतर जे एग्स आहे किंवा जे सेकंडरी ओसाइड आहे these are formed inside the ovaries. Female having the 2 ovaries, this is also called as the primary sex organ or this is also called as the gonads. त्यानंतर यामध्ये सेकंड ऑप्शन आहे ओव्हिडक्ट. ओव्हिडक्ट सर्व्स ॲज अ बर्थ साइड ऑफ द फर्टिलायझेशन. ओव्हिडक्ट मध्ये जो मधला पार्ट आहे एम्प्युला, ओव्हिडक्टला दुसरं नाव आहे फेलोपियन ट्यूब किंवा त्याला युटेरिन ट्यूब असं म्हणतात. यामध्ये 3 पार्ट पडतात, इन्फंडिब्युलम, एम्प्युला आणि त्यानंतर इस्थमस. यामध्ये मधला जो पार्ट आहे एम्प्युला, दिस इज द साइड ऑफ फर्टिलायझेशन वेअर द फर्टिलायझेशन these are occurs in case of female reproductive system, and this pair is also right. यामध्ये फर्स्ट पेअर पण राईट आहे, सेकंड पेअर पण यामध्ये राईट आहे. त्यानंतर यामध्ये थर्ड पेअर आहे युटेरस सर्व्स ॲज अ बर्थ कॅनल आणि आणि लास्ट यामध्ये पेअर आहे सर्विक्स. दिस कंटेन द ओपनिंग टू द एम्ब्रियो अँड ऑल्सो वी कॅन सी दॅट इज द फिटस. मग यामध्ये जे सर्विक्स आहे, सर्विक्स दिस इज द लोअर मोस्ट पार्ट ऑफ द युटेरस अँड फ्रॉम विच द birth of a baby or also the parturition, these are occurs in case of the female reproductive system, that is the embryo and fetus come out from that region. And uterus, this is the side where the growth development of the fetus embryo, these are occurs. हा uterus हा असा एरिया आहे की ज्यामध्ये एम्ब्रियो फिटसची यामध्ये ग्रोथ आणि डेव्हलपमेंट होते. त्याचबरोबर uterus which also provide the particular space for attachment, that is the implantation of a embryo fetus. फिटस एम्ब्रियोच्या इम्प्लांटेशनसाठी यामध्ये त्याचं महत्त्वाचं पार्टिसिपेशन आहे. बट यामध्ये इथे ऑप्शनमध्ये दिले किंवा पेअरमध्ये दिलं आहे युटेरस सर्व्स ॲज अ बर्थ कॅनल. बर्थ कॅनल यामध्ये तो म्हणता येणार नाही, कारण यामध्ये बर्थ कॅनल जो आहे तर तो यामध्ये सर्विक्सच्या तिथला रिजन यामध्ये येईल, कारण सर्विक्स हा यामध्ये नॅरो पार्ट आहे की ज्यामधून बाळाची बर्थ होते. हिअर द युटेरस इन दिस केस वी कॅन नॉट सी द सर्व्स ॲज अ बर्थ कॅनल. दिज आर द पार्ट ऑफ द ग्रोथ अँड डेव्हलपमेंट ऑफ द एम्ब्रियो ऑर fetus. And so we stop here. I hope you understand all the MCQs which is discussed in this lecture. So we will meet in next lecture with which are related to the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system शी related आणखी जे MCQs आहे तर ते आपण इथे नेक्स्ट लेक्चरमध्ये पाहणार आहोत. सो वी विल मीट इन नेक्स्ट लेक्चर विथ द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक और MCQs रिलेटेड टू द फिमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव्ह सिस्टम. थँक्यू सो मच.